Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to interview a very respected member of Congress. He's been a member of the House of Representatives for a long time, and I've known him a long time. The other day on this program, I interviewed a member of the Ku Klux Klan who raised some very basic issues. And now that the election is over, I thought it was important to discuss some of those issues, not in the heat of controversy, but in a very cool and objective manner. And so I have persuaded Congressman William Dawson of Chicago, a Democrat, to be our guest. And in just a minute, I'll be back and let you have the benefit of his views. Congressman, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a few personal questions to start with. May I ask how long you've been in the House of Representatives?
I'm completing my 7th term, 14 years.
14 years. That's a pretty long term. My recollection, I may be wrong, was that you were the first Negro Democrat to serve in the House.
No, I'm the second. Congressman Mitchell served before I did. He is a Democrat.
I see. There were some Republican Negroes in the Congress going way back after the Civil War.
Yes. And Oscar DePriest served since the Civil War, preceding Mitchell.
Now, I know that you come from Chicago, of course, but where were you born?
I was born in Albany, Georgia.
And you came to Chicago as a boy, or?
I came to Chicago as a boy, I would say a young man, 19 years old.
Well, now, in the House of Representatives, I know, of course, that you are the chairman of the Government Operations Committee. But could you tell a little bit about what that committee does? Not the cases, but what is its duty?
The Government Operations Committee is charged with the responsibility of following all funds appropriated to the Executive Department to see that they are economically and efficiently spent. This carries with it wide investigatory powers.
In other words, you're the watchdog committee.
That's right. We have been called that often.
To keep an eye on the executive branch of the government to see that they don't waste money.
And we also have the duty of passing on all the president's plans of reorganization sent up to the Congress.
Well, that is a very important job. Well, now, could you tell me some of the important investigations that you have conducted to improve the efficiency of the government?
Yes, there are some that have been sensational, such as the cheese scandal that happened during the last session. And then there's been the nickel case going out of conditions down in Cuba. And many of the...
That was where the Republicans demanded that some contributions be paid before a contract was awarded down there?
That was the evidence before the committee.
Congressman, can you tell us a little bit more about that cheese scandal and what happened?
Yes, in that case, the Commodity Credit Corporation bought cheese from various processors and other companies that they then held in storage and at one price, and immediately sold it back to the same people at another price, 2.5 cents cheaper, thereby giving the companies involved a windfall of about $2.5 million of the people's money.
After you brought this out, did anything happen about it?
Oh, yes. The matter was taken up with the Attorney General's office, the Justice Department, and finally led to suits being filed against these companies in order to recover the people's money.
In other words, your committee investigated this, brought it to light, turned it over to the Justice Department. Did the Justice Department act immediately or not?
We had to insist a little that they do act.
Insist a little? I see. Well, now, on this committee of yours, are there Southern members on the committee?
Yes, there are many Southern members. There are members from all sections of the United States. We have a membership of about 30 on the committee.
And you preside over the committee?
Yes, I'm the chairman.
How do you get along with the Southern members?
I get along with the Southern members just like I get along with all the others. I have found no difference in congressmen in carrying out their duties.
The members of the Congress treat you with respect and equality?
They treat me like I treat them. I treat every man with respect, and I have gotten that same kind of treatment back from them.
Well, I have heard that was very true. I know that they do respect you. Well, Congressman, this is a very difficult question. It's difficult for the country, probably difficult for you, but how can the Supreme Court decision be implemented?
The Supreme Court decision will be implemented by the people of these United States. The Supreme Court has spoken, and that is the law of the land. And it is a test whether this country shall be a land of laws, or whether the law is going to be obeyed in one section of the country and not in another. I am of the opinion that the American people will see that this is a land of laws.
Congressman Dawson, before the Supreme Court decision, the law of the land in many states was for segregation. Was that enforced, or what was the situation there?
Yes, we obeyed the law because it was the law. And though we differed with the law, we obeyed it and then took our case to the Supreme Court as provided by law. This is a land of laws, and we believe that all laws ought to be obeyed. That's why we believe that the implementation of this Supreme Court decision is the task of all Americans. It's your task, Mr. Pearson. You are a molder of public sentiment, and if we are going to stand before the world as a fair nation, capable of leading the free world, then America has got to do something about this question of the segregation of a part of its citizenship, and this question about the obedience to what is known as the law of the land, the Supreme Court's decisions. That's your problem. That's the problem of all Americans. And I think you should do something about it.
Well, Congressman, that's putting me on the spot, all right, and I guess you're justified. But I'd like to say that last May, I think it was, I wrote a series of articles about a very tragic situation down in Monroe, Louisiana, where about 4,000 Negroes were disenfranchised, kicked off the rolls through the white citizens' councils. And one very distinguished and prominent white leader, former governor of Louisiana, James No, went to bat for them, and went to bat hard for those Negroes, and so did some of the white church groups. And I did too. I not only wrote about it, but I went down to the Justice Department and asked them what they were doing. And I demanded that Brownell, the Attorney General, call a press conference, which, however, he refused to do. He would not answer any questions about that. It just seems to me that the Justice Department has been laying down on the job. What do you think?
I agree with you. From their actions, they didn't seem to be very interested because they did nothing about it. And that's the best manner of displaying interest is to do something.
Have you had occasion to take these matters up with the Justice Department?
Personally, no. But I do know they were taken up with the Justice Department because I read the Justice Department answers in the newspapers. I think I read something in your column about their attitude.
Yes, I think you did. Well, now, would it help any if the President should call a conference of the best leaders of the country to discuss this question?
I'm of the opinion that it would. You can recall that President Truman appointed a commission who brought in a report to secure these rights. They outlined a legislation that ought to be passed, and Truman presented it to the Congress. And I am sure that if a group of American citizens would study this matter and arrive at a solution, the American public would demand that something be done about it.
Why do you think President Eisenhower hasn't called a similar meeting?
I think it was because it was close to election time, and on the advice of those about him, it wasn't a political thing to do.
You think he was afraid of losing the white Southern vote?
He made every play to get it.
I see. Well, now, Congressman, may I ask one other question? What is your philosophy toward your fellow men?
I believe in the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. I think that the greatest attribute that any human being can have is to know that he's made in God's image. And I do not think that has anything to do with questions of race or nationality. I am of the opinion that a human being is limited only by the limitations he places upon himself. And in my dealings with other human beings, I treat them as I would like to be treated by them. I hate no man because of what he is. I hate no man because of what somebody else says he is. And as I meet him, I deal with him as another human being under the circumstances under which we move and operate.
Well, I can understand why your colleagues in the House respect you as they do. But in just a minute, we're going to come back, and I'm going to ask Congressman Dawson to help me with some predictions. Well, Congressman, this is the point where I'm supposed to predict. But I wonder if you'd help me out and make a prediction, now that the elections are over, as to how the Negro vote will go in the future. Will it shift Republican or not?
No, I do not. I think that it will be increasingly Democratic from this time on.
Could you say why?
Yes, because once they understand clearly the history of the two parties and realize the difference that has taken place within the Democratic Party in the last few years, I'm sure it will make a difference in the thinking of those who are not yet converted.
Well, thank you, Congressman. I appreciate your being here. Now, in just a minute, I'm going to come back with one small announcement of my own. I'll be back next week, same time, same station, with a story that will surprise you.